Hello, I'm Paulo Shakarian, CEO and co-founder of Cyricon. Thank you for taking the time today. Now, last week, news broke that the University of Utah paid $457,000 to malicious hackers due to a ransomware attack. The hackers threatened to leak data from their systems about students and employees. Now, here's some of the details. It was later reported that this was the NetWalker ransomware gang. And a similar incident occurred also with the NetWalker gang back in June against Michigan State, who also paid the ransom. And in both cases, they were threatening to release data. But here's the thing. We know from our research back a couple years ago that there are significant connections between those who deal with ransomware and those who deal with leaked data. It's likely that even though they paid the ransom, at some point in the future, the hackers will sell some of this leaked data anyway. Now, with this kind of attack, how can it have been stopped proactively? Well, the FBI issued a warning in July. Now, it's not clear if the University of Utah attack occurred before or after this warning was issued. But the warning did include information about vulnerabilities that the NetWalker gang was actively exploiting in the attack. Now, here are the two vulnerabilities from the FBI bulletin, seen in the Cyricon user interface. Now, let's click on one of them, the Pulse Secure vulnerability. And if you scroll down past all this metadata that we have here, we look at the rating history, how many times likely it was to be exploited when compared to average. And already, about a year ago, it was over 10 times as likely to be exploited. And if that wasn't enough, well, the system automatically upped the rating to about 38 times in November of last year. So there was plenty of lead time about this vulnerability. And when you scroll down, you look at the second vulnerability, the Telereq vuln. Also, we have information that has gone back to December of last year. Expand that out, and we see it's been at a 38 since December. Now, how does a company or an organization make a decision to invest in technology like what I just showed you in order to get ahead of the malicious hacker threat? Well, let's consider the cost of this attack. University of Utah paid $456,000 in ransom. Now, this does not include additional costs associated with this attack. They had to pay for post-breach remediation, which was likely very expensive. They had to notify students and employees that their data was potentially compromised. Additionally, they also suffered, of course, loss of reputation. And if it was a commercial firm, like what we saw happen with Equifax or Target, the damages would have been much greater, would have affected things like stock price. Now, last year, Ponemon did a study on how much companies are spending on vulnerability management, making decisions about which vulnerabilities to remediate, and using technology like we just showed you. And the average annual spend for vulnerability management is about $103,000 a year. So this is a small fraction of what these breaches are actually costing. And we believe that this is probably an area that needs more investment in companies, because you suffer a major attack like this, you're already spending more than your entire budget for vulnerability management. And that does not make sense. At Cyricon, we support our clients by finding ignored threats, which are threats that are real, but they have not been acted upon in a proactive way. So like what we saw with those vulnerabilities that the FBI disclosed on the NetWalker ransomware gang. And we have already multiple Fortune 500 companies that are using this. In our FIT assessment, or Find Ignored Threat assessment, we will assess your vulnerabilities, provide you with a couple of consultation sessions, But really what we want to transition you to is using the Cyricon platform. We have a nice web-based user interface that I just showed on this video, as well as an API, and this will enable you to stay up to date on all these threats and deal with them in a proactive way and not the more expensive post-breach incident handling kind of methodology. So that's it for today. Please visit our website and sign up to find ignored threats today. Thank you.